Okay, shoot.
All right, so I'm Jordy Izzard. I'm Associate Director of Alumni Relations here at SAIS. I'm here today with Roger Leeds, who was a student here at SAIS. Graduated with his MA in 1970 and then later his Ph.D. in 1976. He is currently a research professor at SAIS and director of the Center for International Business and Public Policy. And today's date is February 3rd of 2014, and we're so glad you're able to be with us today.
Great pleasure.
So why don't we start, we're going to have a little bit of a conversation, but with what originally brought you to SAIS?
I originally came to SAIS, I applied to SAIS by candlelight, sitting in the back of beyond of Brazil as a Peace Corps volunteer. I had never been to Washington, D.C., but I knew I wanted to come to a graduate school of international affairs. I'd been at Columbia as an undergraduate, and I was very interested in international development, which was deepened when I became a volunteer. But I didn't know where I wanted to go to school or what I was going to study, and I applied to all the major schools of international affairs by candlelight, sitting off in the back of beyond of Brazil, and got accepted. Came to Washington for the first time in September of, I guess, 1968, which was just after the riots in downtown Washington, where after Martin Luther King was assassinated. It was a very interesting time to be a student of international affairs, and it was a very interesting time to be in Washington. It was the height of the Vietnam War, the height of the protest against the Vietnam War, and so it was an exhilarating time to be at SAIS and to be in Washington, D.C. for lots of good reasons and bad reasons.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, like, when you were a current student, what are some memories you have of SAIS and being here?
It was a period of tremendous activism at SAIS. I would say it hasn't been matched since, where there was tremendous engagement by the student body because we were children of the 60s. It was the civil rights movement and all the turmoil surrounding that. It was the Vietnam War and the turmoil surrounding that. It also attracted, back in the day, a tremendous combination of different types of individuals. So, for example, I had a lot of friends at SAIS during that period who had been in the Peace Corps. I also had a lot of friends at SAIS who were just coming back from the Vietnam War. And one of the things that I did at SAIS was I started a rugby team with a couple of other people, which became an intercollegiate. SAIS had an intercollegiate, pretty active rugby team. And the reason I mention it is because it had this incredible combination of people who had been from the Marine Corps and the Army in Vietnam, and people like me from the Peace Corps. And it was one of the ways we developed extraordinary camaraderie during this period. We also were very active in trying to get the school to do things that previously it had not done. It was a period of tremendous student activism around the country. It was just beginning to percolate. Again, this is the period of the 60s. My second year at SAIS, I was the president of student government. I had lots of really interesting encounters with the administration. At one point, we actually closed the school for a Vietnam protest. I think the only time the school has ever closed by the students. We were very active in trying to get the administration to pay more attention to students who were involved in curriculum development. So this was a very special time to be, as I say, at SAIS, and I have just terrific memories of this period.
Do you have favorite professors from the time you were a student?
All my favorite professors, unfortunately, and I have them, are no longer with us. Who became the dean of SAIS a few years later was Robert Osgood, who was truly a father figure to me. He was my Ph.D. advisor. He was a very, very close friend. He was an extraordinary scholar. I have great memories of Bob Osgood, and we became very, very good friends, and I was friends with his widow after he passed away. The other one is Isaiah Frank, who was chairman of the International Economics Program at that time. An extraordinary human being who had been an Undersecretary of State for Economic Affairs, got his Ph.D. in economics from Columbia. He was the other Ph.D. advisor. He was my teacher. He honed a lot of my interest in international development. These were really giants in their field, and a number of other people. It was a very interesting combination, I would say more so than today, of people who balanced backgrounds as practitioners, policymakers or practitioners, but also had impeccable academic credentials. I think SAIS today misses that a little bit. We've tilted the balance more towards pure academic and have less of the practitioner scholar at the school, and I think it's a very, very important thing.
Mm-hmm.